excess of 80% of the accidents that are occurring on our roads are being caused by careless driving, are being caused by people who are not willing to observe and to obey traffic rules, are being caused by people who are overspeeding and overtaking recklessly.
Welcome back to the big story right on KTN News. That is President Uhuru Kenyatta talking about the causes of road accidents in Kenya. 3,000 lives once again are lost annually through road accidents, making countries with the highest road carnage globally. So what are we doing wrong in these countries? Today I still have David Koseng, is the Chairman Parliamentary Committee on Transport. Dixon Bugo is the Matatu Welfare Association Chairman. And Peter Murimo is the Kenya Motorist Association Chairman. Honorable Koseng, let me begin with you once again. You've heard even the President talking about the causes of these accidents, saying that 80% is always blamed on, careless driving. We know the causes. It's well documented. It's well published everywhere. So the next question naturally is, what are we doing about it? Why are we not seeing enough action taken?
You see, Yusuf, I think we're just bad manners in this country. Let's deal with bad manners and issues of discipline, because that's where the problem is. Look, there are all regulations there, the laws are there, the road signs are there. So what is missing? As His Excellency the President said, why would I have a driver just rushing somewhere, or where? Where is he rushing? And in that also, allow me, Yusuf, to agree with my brother Mbogwa, that I think we have a problem when it comes to bodybuilding of these buses and chassis. And that's why when the President said, remember, drivers are not carrying cabbages, he really meant a lot. It even meant, are these cars really suitable for carrying human beings? If you have a bus, or you have a lorry, or a vehicle with chassis of a lorry to carry cabbages and now carrying human beings, it is a problem. And that is why, Yusuf, I will add another thing. And maybe to comment what my good brother Mutua just said, that is going to police these things. We have also a problem, and we need to bring an institution called court into this debate, and also bring them also on the debate. Look, the other day when there was a problem in December, when we had a big problem in December, the government banned night buses. What happened? Some people went to court, obtained orders, and business was, business came back to usual. So how do you do? You have another arm of government saying something. You have another one saying something else. If, for example, Mutua was to arrest people beyond 6 in the evening, where will he go? How will he take them to court to charge them on what?
Actually, that directive.
If you want to address that, Yusuf, if you want to address that, let us address it from school.
Actually, it seems that
becomes,
law
a school regulation.
I think you've delivered your point. We're going to talk about the contradiction between that directive by the Machakos County government, because the Traffic Amendment Act has a totally different scenario with that directive. But let me bring in Bogo into this discussion once again. You've seen the soundbite that we've just played by President Uhuru Kenyatta. He's also talking about reckless driving as the main cause of accident in this country. From transport stakeholder point of view, do you think police are doing enough, since especially NTSA are suspended from the road?
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot that needs to be done if we are to keep our roads safer. We should be able to rein in on those drivers that do overspeed. Although there's nothing like overspeed, we could be speeding. And then, of course, the numerous roadblocks that we have on our roads, what are they doing? What are they checking on? Apart from getting handouts from the PSV and the truckers, that's what they know best. In fact, if it comes to matter of roadworthiness of a vehicle and drivers driving carefully and what have you, they don't check on that, you see? And then we should be able really to rein in on them. And then number two, the issue also of the driver testing by our police. I know that's under NTSA or under what call motor vehicle inspection in whatever section it is. Now, how thorough is that? Are we rolling out substandard kind of driver skilled through the many mushrooming driving schools that we have in our town here or in various towns in the country? Or are we sticking their training to the comprehensive 35 lessons or 36, whatever it is? Or are we training them, taking through them on have 17 or 18 or 20 lessons and then rush to test them so that they can get their driving license only to come to the road and become very dangerous when it comes to the art of driving and contain the vehicles on our roads? That's one issue that we should be able to look into because that's where most drivers, whether personal, represented here by Muremi, or the truckers, or even the PSV, we know for a fact that that happens. It needs to be checked so that at least we roll out competent drivers that will be driving on our roads.
Peter, is corruption partly to blame on the rampant cases of road accidents that we're witnessing in this country?
Yeah, it is. It is. It has to be blamed on that because look at that road.
Actually, Mbugo, you react to that. Let me get Peter's point of view on that first.
Yes. Your guess is as good as mine. Because if you look at our roads, you'll find that there is that small where you stop by the roadside and the usual thing happens and you're allowed to move on. We have found that when even you are overloading through the carrier, we had on our FB page a vehicle that was overloading going to Ngarwa and another one to Rumuruti. And you can imagine how many roadblocks that vehicle would pass through. But they will not see that, but we can look and see that. So there is, graft is a major contributory factor.
It's still a major problem. Yes. Allow me to bring Honorable Kosing to this. Now, Mheshimiwa, as a parliamentary committee, this is something that everybody talks about now and then, corruption on our roads. Actually, that is one of the reasons, when the president suspended NTSA, most Kenyans supported him because they felt like NTSA officials were corrupt. Now, we're seeing police officers with their roadblocks, school buses to operate at 11 p.m. at night. What do you think needs to be done moving forward?
You see, I would still say again, Yusuf, I think we're bad manners, even from those law enforcers.
But even bad manners have to come to an end. So,
we have sufficient.
So what is the solution here?
That's why let me begin from there, because that is where we should begin from. Because we have good examples to say, and then of course corruption we have to blame, but it is bad manners that we are trying to address here. From where I sit as a representative of the people and Parliament, we have sufficient regulations and laws. We have done what's supposed to be done. And as you said, so when you take somebody, even the police are even losing also hope. I am not saying that I'm defending them, but I am saying, Yusuf, I think we need to bring the court, we need to bring the enforcers, we need to bring executive together, so that we agree and say, look, if you do this, please let it be also harmonious. If you arrest somebody and then you go to court, you are not finding even something like for example, let's say this case which happened. It was about 11 o'clock. So when you take this person to court, he gets a bond, he gets out of court, he will do the same problem. So in my view, if you want to address this thing, Yusuf, as a country, as Mbukwa said, number one, let us make sure that if somebody is driving a car and a driver, that must be a properly qualified driver. And now NTSA is coming that slowly. Number two, if you commit an offense like what you have done today in this or this car, you should be banned from driving any car forever. If you have killed people, you should not drive anybody anymore. If you cause an accident, you don't drive anymore. So we must also be tough to be able to instill discipline to the driving fraternity. But if we are doing lip service, and then we will have a problem in this country, and we'll never get rid of bad manners.
So is it something that you are planning to execute as a parliamentary committee?
We as Parliament, we normally do the laws. We don't implement executive orders as you are putting it. So you are giving me a role which is not mine.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
There is insufficiency of law making. Then I'll do it.
Fair enough. As we conclude this debate, Bugo, you've seen that latest directive from Machakos banning school buses from operating, beyond 7 p.m. We've seen a lot of night travel bans before in this country, but it has little effect on, the number of accidents that we've seen in this country. Do you think that is going to offer some sort of a solution?
Actually, it's part of solving the problem, but in itself, it's not the end of solving the problem. Now, Honorable Pokisin, who is the chairman of the Parliamentary Transport Committee, should be able really to get involved or consult the stakeholders so that at least the committee will be able to understand where we are coming from and what we want to solve and how do you want to solve it, so that we are the people with experience, because we are on the road every day. The other thing, of course, banning the... Why we came out with our guns blazing in January 1st this year, when the NTSA had really banned the night travel for the public service vehicles, because that was just like strangling the economy, because there's nowhere where you ban the total transport, even aircraft. When one aircraft crashes, you don't ban the whole fleet that they won't be able to travel at night or whatever it is. You solve the problem. What is the cause of that problem, so that at least it does not recur. But we need to rethink these issues, because, as I said earlier on, it's a collective responsibility by every citizen, every road user, really to think, how do we get out of this quagmire of interminate or continued road crashes every other day on our roads. Yes.
Before I cross over to Peter, Bugo, there are some viewers who are saying that matatu culture is partly to blame for what we are seeing on our roads, the speeding, the little regard to law. As Matatu Welfare Association, are there plans that you've put in place, mainly punitive measures, to end this?
Yeah, we have tried to put some measures in place, but my call here is, and not only to the matatu owners, investors, I would want to propose all the investors, the owner of the companies, corporates that have fleets, truckers running on the road, PSV vehicles, to take charge of their employees. Not the association that has got really to be blamed for everything, but the circles, and that's why we lobbied for the government to allow circles and companies to be allowed on various routes, so that they could take charge and be answerable for their employees. In fact, according to the Michuki rules, the drivers and the conductor are supposed to be the employees of the, of course, with the blessings and mandate of the vehicle owners. Yes.
Well said. Let me bring Peter back into this. Peter, you've heard the statement there that was made by Machakos County Governor. I'd like you to talk about the ban on night travel. Of course, Machakos has banned, school buses from traveling beyond 7 p.m. Do you think that can be some sort of a solution?
Yeah, we understand the governor's sentiments because of the loss of life, but sometimes we would say that could be counterproductive. Because you see, where traveling or transport is a cardinal activity, like the money. So traveling is an economic activity, a social activity. You have to travel from point A to point B because the activities demand that if the school children are coming from a particular event or have gone to a particular tour, if you ban them from arriving to their school, and probably they are just some few kilometers from arriving the school at 9, and there's a boarding school at 8, then someone will take that and start taking advantage of that rule, because you cannot, it might be worse if the children sleep overnight somewhere along the road. We found last year, when the night ban was effected by the National Transport and Safety Authority, we had cases of school children who are on bus stops. So yes, we need a lot of debate, and as Bogwa says here, those experts in road safety should be included in policy formulation, because you find when people with experience on road safety are left out in policy this is where probably we are getting problems.
Yes,
But,
Peter.
yes.
Peter, well said. I think we've heard the governor. He was very clear that the
Yes.
ban is going to be affected with regards to school buses. He's saying he's not going to allow any student or people to travel beyond 7 p.m. Let me give Honorable Kosing just a minute. Let me just allow you to make a closing remark, and perhaps you can as well touch on the ban on night travel.
Yeah, Yusuf, as I make my closing remarks, there are a lot of schools now, as we speak, who are outside all over the country, children going for tour. Because, we don't have a lot of activities in the third term because that's the exam. I want to appeal, and I want to appeal to the drivers driving our children. Please let us use the available regulations and laws to be able to take care of our children. And I'll tell you this as I comment on that night ban. Yusuf, we need to ask ourselves, what is happening at night? Most of our accidents happen at night. That is the truth. There's something at night.
So you're in support of Governor Mutua's directive. You're almost out of time. Actually, I think you've delivered your point of view there. Yes, we are out of time, unfortunately. I think we need more time to discuss this. But for now, many thanks for your input. Honorable David Kosiani is the Chairman, Parliamentary Committee on Transport. Dixon Bugo is the Chairman, Matatu Association. And Peter Murima is the Chairman, Kenya Motorist Association. Up next is KTN Prime with Ben Kitili. Many thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.